Well, welcome everyone to Your Brain in the News, and it's LGBTQ Pride 2023. Time to celebrate and commemorate. And we will be looking at excerpts from my book, Parents Love Your Gay Children Ending Fear, Stigma, and Trauma. Well, why do we celebrate LGBTQ Pride every June? Well, one is to commemorate the anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising in New York City in 1969, considered the start of the modern gay rights movement. Two, because by celebrating that, we commemorate another year of courage and strength against discrimination that is deep and worldwide, and unfortunately, in some areas, particularly this country, growing more poisonous, particularly against the trans community. I'm Dave Balog. I'm the Chief Information Officer for 1,000 Moms, building community support for LGBTQ youth. And we are going to look at the brain and sexuality because we need to get educated for our children, for ourselves. The brain plays a crucial role in determining sexual orientation and gender identity. We must look at prenatal development, the crucial time in the mother's womb when changes fueled by hormones affect the development of the fetus and set in place structures in the brain that will impact sexual development throughout a lifetime. Now, speaking on a PBS series special, the Nobel laureate Dr. Eric Kandel, who I turn to often because he speaks so clearly and understandably on this topic, he has said brain science can be a liberating influence in our lives. As we understand the biology of our own gender identity and sexual orientation better and become more comfortable with ourselves, we've become more empathic to someone else's identity and orientation. Gender identity, whether you are a man or a woman, and sexuality are two different things to begin, as one doctor put it. Gender is about who you are, sexuality is about who you're attracted to. Being transgender has nothing to do with sexuality. Well, where does gender originate? Well, as we said, in the birthing process, in utero. At birth, in typically a hospital, a medical professional will declare your baby a boy or a girl based on their sexual organs. But does this determine their gender? We're trying to change the understanding of gender, says psychiatrist Murat Altanay, MD. That's one of my big goals. The main question I'm asking is, where is the gender? We know that as an embryo forms, the genitalia specializes into either male or female. But what about development in the brain? The brain and the body can go in two different directions, says Dr. Altanay. Gender is not only in our genitalia. There's something profound in the brain that determines gender. The male and female brain have structural differences, he says. Men and women tend to have different volumes in certain areas of the brain. When we look at the transgender brain, we see that the brain resembles the gender that the person identifies as, Dr. Altanay says. For example, a person who is born with a penis but ends up identifying as a female often actually has some of the structural characteristics of a female brain. And brain similarities aren't only structural. We're finding some functional similarities between the transgender brain and its identified gender, says Dr. Altanay. Research in these areas is extremely limited, and more research needs to be done to find conclusive results, Dr. Altanay notes. But we are already seeing definite trends. While biology is not a choice and genes are not destiny, and while knowing these aspects of sexuality can illuminate us, the bottom line for all of us is to learn and accept the wide range of human sexual experience. For example, what is a choice for society is to educate those who mistakenly believe that allowing transgender people to use bathrooms appropriate for their identity endangers women and children. Such people either do not know transgender people or more likely know them but do not know they are transgender. And those that believe the real that real sexual predators will be dissuaded by a sign on a bathroom door are truly in need of information. And parents, a strong message to you. You need to understand that when you bring a child into the world, there is a realistic chance that the child may be lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or queer. It's just a fact. If you love that child that you have brought into the world, as all or most parents say they do, you must understand that the child and you do not control that child's sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. For the sake of your child, for the sake of your family, and for the sake of the world, please learn this critical part of parenting. We are dependent on you. We are all dependent on you to realize that the life you created may not follow your preconceived ideas of a binary world where blue is for boys, pink is for girls, and they will happily live in a world such as the one you do. Tolerance, understanding, compassion, whatever you want to call it, can only benefit our world. We will have healthier citizens and adults, more productive workers for business, less crime and violence, and a whole host of other benefits. It can be very charitably said that humankind has done the best with something we know very little about, although that's debatable because there are centuries of experience that have been wiped out. A stroke of a pen, a stroke of a translator's pen in the Bible. But we can and we must do better. Thank you. And now there are, I want to point everyone watching to the links below this video, below this YouTube video. There you'll find links to our other books. This on memory, how our remarkable brain captures life's moments and what we can do to preserve them. And also, I want to give a big thank you to the following: Fred Elia, who is the co founder, president of 1,000 Moms, Jerry Hirth, Michael Kay, Michael Luciello, and the late Barbara Rich, the strongest, most inspirational colleague of my career. And once again, please check the links in the description below. You'll find the link to the entire article from which we had excerpts here in this video. You'll find links to the books we mentioned and a whole bunch of other information. Again, thank you for watching. Be well. Have a great summer.